Winston-Churchill, the first Duke of Marlborough, stands atop his victory column, commanding a view of the home he built as a monument to his military exploits. By beating the French in 1704 and curbing their power in Europe, Churchill earned the princely reward of Blenheim Palace, the gift of a grateful nation. The birthplace of another great leader, Winston Churchill, Blenheim today is the residence of the 11th Duke. But it's also a business which the Duke personally oversees, welcoming 500,000 visitors a year into his home. Blenheim Palace is a World Heritage Site, deemed by the United Nations to be as important as the Taj Mahal, the Great Wall of China, and the Pyramids of Egypt.
I know that I've been born to be in charge here, and I know that I've got lots of responsibilities, not only to Blenheim, but also to the nation as a whole, because Blenheim is a really important part of our national heritage. I don't think that you should just forget about the past.
Winston Churchill said that Marlborough made absolutely no claim for his achievement at all. He made no mention of the great victories he'd won, the great political decisions he'd influenced. Churchill says he left this great house to stand for his deeds. And may it continue for 1,000 years into the future, maybe as a ruin. But the present Duke would be very quick to say, we are striving might and main to make sure it goes on to the future in the best order possible and not as a ruin. That's the ambition at Blenheim.
One of the ways the palace aims to achieve that ambition is by hosting events, and they don't come much bigger than the Caravan Club's annual rally.
Follow the signs to the checkpoint.
Sometimes when the events take place, there's really not a huge amount for us to do, apart from just be there and react to situations. The initial concerns with the Caravan Club were obviously the traffic. And you would have thought 5,000 caravans around the area would have just caused chaos. But as most things, you know, in the background there's lots of people running around doing different things to make it all work smoothly.
Over the next few days, more than 12,000 people are expected to attend the rally, held at the north end of the park, beyond John Churchill's victory column. The Caravan Club marks its centenary this year, and the rally, booked nearly a decade ago with Blenheim, is the club's 80th. The caravanners are hoping for better weather than the previous rally, which was held in Cheshire, in rain and mud.
We want them to feel part of being at Blenheim Palace, and that's part of the experience they have, but also the fact that they're up the north end of the park means that we were able to run our normal visitor business in the south end of the park, and the two can mix without too much problem, really. I mean, we've got the usual issues, cars sort of going the wrong way and people not knowing where they're going. The Caravan guys have been really good so far, and you know, all the participants are nice people, and when we ask them to do something, they tend to do it, so it's been great.
An earlier request of the Caravan Club was to recite a checkpoint set up across the famous Grand Bridge, an intrinsic part of what Winston Churchill's father Randolph described as the finest view in England.
We're going to have to move further down.
Somebody said we've got to move the hut because he can see it.
Is it the Marquis of...
Marquis of
Marlborough, is it the Marquis of...
The Duke? Yeah.
The Duke of Marlborough, yes. He's not happy looking at the hut from his bedroom window, apparently.
I presume when you've got lords and ladies like this, they don't want to see these things, actually, do they? Not dead in front of them, do they?
From our point of view, that was the ideal spot. We can guard the caravans on the right road, there's no problems. They're not just relying on a sign to say, come this way. As you probably saw, someone was going to go the opposite way anyway.
But the Caravan Club acknowledges the hut is something of a blot on Capability Brown's landscape, and so the finest view is allowed to prevail.
Good morning, Blenheim Palace.
Caroline,
Yes, please.
I've got the chairman of the Caravan
Yeah.
Club coming to tea. So would you please tell Tim there'll be 2 of us for tea at 5 o'clock?
Okay, fine, you go.
Thank you, bye.
Goodbye.
What's impressed me very much is the way that they have laid out the whole site. And it's a very big site. They're carrying hundreds of acres. Everybody seems to know where they're going. The organisation is faultless. Everybody seems to have their water supply, electricity, and they have an amazing program of events taking place. Something going on the whole time, as far as I can see.
Do you like caravans, Your Grace?
To tell you the truth, I have had very little experience. I remember once as a child doing a caravan trip, but I can't remember too much about it. So I haven't got one.
Are you tempted, Your Grace, to invest in a caravan?
No. No, that is not my métier of form of holidays I would really look forward to. I'm afraid I've got past the age of caravanning now.
The Caravan Club marshals surrender their position and retreat to a more suitable location. The Grand Bridge was the vision of John Vanbrugh, who built the palace. He planned to construct the finest bridge in Europe, containing numerous rooms. But his grand designs were reined in by Sarah, wife of the first Duke, who kept tight control of the purse strings.
Here we have, within the bridge, a relatively finished space. And when you look from it, there's an archway down there that was probably a doorway, and one on the other side, again probably a doorway, because what we're standing on at the moment is a built-up floor. We're up about sort of 10 or 12 feet from what would have been the original level before Capability Brown came along and flooded the Glyme Valley. Most of the other rooms are not actually finished spaces. They are the rough stonework of the walls. They're large cavities within the bridge, as part of the way in which the bridge was actually built.
The structure is incredibly strong and supports the tarmac road, but drainage is a concern.
One of the sort of long-term issues that one has to manage here is what's happening with the water that runs off that deck. Because what's happening to it is that it percolates down through the structure of the main walls of the bridge. And when it does that, it saturates the stone, the facing stonework on the bridge, and that can then in turn damage it through frost action.
It's views like this that sets Blenheim apart from other stately homes. But some visitors have different reasons for coming to Blenheim.
These are some descendants of Sarah Jennings, who married the first Duke and became the first Duchess of Marlborough.
And that one doesn't go anywhere either? It just stops here?
They've come from Canada, I believe, to see a scroll that was donated or given to His Grace in the late 70s. Now, they've seen this once before, and they wanted to come and show their sons their family tree. So it starts right back with Sarah and finishes with their late uncles and aunts.
I don't see her. Sarah Jennings, here we are.
So there's
29th of May, 1660.
And she died in 1744.
In the palace basement, or undercroft, is an archive containing documents dating back to the 18th century, and even earlier. The family's request was quite unexpected.
I have to be perfectly honest with you, there was a moment of panic because this was received 30 or more years ago, was described as being in a metal canister, and I thought, where on earth could that be? And the Duke said, oh, I know where that is. And he produced it, would you believe? Marvellous moment.
We had been told that this was...
The family tree, drawn up in 1850, was the work of a university professor in Dublin.
In order to trace mining rights in Normandy at that stage. But it looks like it became a bit more of a passion than a mining rights issue. There must have been a lot of drafting, because this is obviously in the final form, because there aren't any errors or deletions or cross-out marks. And the total scroll, which seems to be on a waxed form of paper, is close to 90 feet long. There's only one joint after about 70 feet.
My sons are often told that they look like the Princess William and Harry, and there actually is a connection through a bloodline, which is that they would be first cousins 11 times removed, and you go down the line to Princess Di and her sons.
Preparations for the Caravan Club's combined Centenary celebrations and 80th rally have been taking shape. Upwards of 12,000 people are expected to attend. The rally will be the size of a small town. A World War II Spitfire will be performing as part of the rally's opening ceremony. Flown by the world's only current female Spitfire pilot, it's a veteran of displays over Blenheim.
You can't fly over a built-up area. You can't fly over any building that you think may be occupied by people or animals. So obviously one has to check that out from the air at height where you can't be seen. The aeroplane has had a lot of winter maintenance done on it. We've been flying since the beginning of March this year, and the aeroplane is always looked at by the engineers before and after every flight. So there's a lot of care taken. She's closely watched. We know her every move. It is difficult on handling, on landing and taking off. If you stay within its parameters in the air, you're okay. But if you go outside of those, like any aeroplane, it will bite. It is fairly basic engineering and handling. I don't have any GPS, I just use the wartime compass, and that suits me very well. I'm very happy not having any technology on board.
The Caravan Club's 80th annual rally and centenary celebrations are about to get underway at Blenheim. Their host, the Duke, has been invited to open the three-day event.
It is my very great pleasure to greet you on the occasion of the club's centenary year, and I must say that the response to this event has been absolutely staggering. It is calculated that the local economy will benefit by around £2 million as a result of the rally being here this weekend. This year's venue of Blenheim Palace was a really inspired choice. Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to provide a typical Caravan Club welcome for our host, His Grace the Duke of Marlborough.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me really great pleasure to be here this afternoon. Normally in this area there are about 3,500 sheep and lambs. Therefore it's astonishing for me to suddenly see 5,000 caravans. Here at Blenheim we have got plenty for you to come and see. I heard your chairman say that the local economy is going to benefit. I'm looking forward to the Blenheim economy benefiting. Anyway, have a wonderful weekend, enjoy yourselves, and I now have much pleasure in declaring the rally open.
Grace opens her display with a 330 miles an hour low-level run. Carolyn's flight path takes her over John Churchill's Victory Column and along the Grand Avenue. A former museum piece restored by her late husband Nick was built at Castle Bromwich in 1944 and saw combat during the last year of the war.
Fall short of 5,000, but well over 5,000 bookings. Obviously some people change their mind, perhaps the long-term forecast put them off, but they're usually a hardened bunch. Obviously the rain has not helped us today, but with cooperation with the estate and people's common sense, I'm sure everything will go fine.
It's poured with rain today, which is a little bit depressing. So just one of the main tasks is to make sure that the place doesn't turn into a quagmire. You can imagine that all these guys in their caravans want to, leave sight, maybe come down to the palace, go out into the local areas, you know, the shops and stuff, so we just want to make sure that they get there without causing too much mud on the roads on the way.
We have set procedures in emergency situations. We have a yellow flag command which stops all vehicle traffic. Obviously our main concern is personal safety, especially if people are not used to driving in these conditions. We can get to a point where we prevent people from moving around completely around the site until it's safe to do so.
Rain, let us cuddle while the rain.
The caravanners are determined not to let the wind and rain spoil their fun.
Will a chance to while away a dreamy afternoon, a lovely, peaceful afternoon.
Tucked away at the north end of the park, the caravanners may be out of sight of the palace, but not out of mind.
In the south main palace end of the park, we've got a big craft show. So together, it means we could potentially, we don't know yet, but we could potentially have up to around about sort of 18,000 people in the park at any one time today, which is it's quite scary.
With so many visitors and so much rain, the palace staterooms experience a sudden surge in demand.
We have to be in a position to allow people to come into the house, and we have to be in a position to allow people to walk in the park and gardens. And you can't say, well, we can only have 100 today and we can have 200 tomorrow. You just have to plan to be able to accept and look after the number of people that turn up. And in my case, the more people turn up, the better it is for Blenheim, because I know that we need these people. We require their presence. It's the only way we can keep the place going is by accepting all visitors that come to visit us.
Weather doesn't bother us.
Wow, it's good weather. So you're enjoying your time here?
Oh, yes. We're a tough breed. Here we are in the seat of the inspiration of the democracy which we enjoy today, so I'm sure a bit of rain isn't going to dilute us.
Beautiful.
Very impressive.
Very
impressive.
Yes, some beautiful grounds.
And in good condition.
The rain isn't putting you off?
No.
No, never puts us off.
Typical British attitude. They're not going in their cars and going home. They're going to stick it out and they're going to make sure that they see as much as they possibly can of the treasures of this wonderful palace.
Over the fireplace, that's the last picture of the first Duke, shown here with his chief engineer, Colonel Armstrong. And the first Duchess considered she had a bargain because he only charged her 17 guineas, and that was normally the price for two figures. So she had two for the price of one. The first Duke and Duchess were reputed to be very careful with their money, so careful that they used to save ink by not crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Stories of Sarah, the first Duchess's frugality, are recorded in scrupulously kept ledgers going back centuries.
These are some of the documents, the accounts of the first Duchess, dated 1707, this particular group, and it's full of serious things, for example, for silver there, Woodstock plate, but also some very human things. For example, here, there's a sum of 3 guineas for the man who cleans your Grace's teeth. A lovely human moment.
Another human moment, perhaps not quite so lovely, is the caravanners' rain-soaked and wind-blown rally. The men who put up the big top are making sure it doesn't come down of its own accord. Certainly not before tonight's variety performance, featuring singers and comedians.
The only good thing about coming to the Caravan Club is that you're not stuck behind a load. There's nothing worse, is there, when it's pouring down with rain and you're stuck on a bank holiday and you're trying to get down to the coast.
I've just been informed that we've had to close the marquee, ladies and gentlemen, because the weather has got very bad and it's blowing away. Hang on. Hang on. It's the what? It's where the May Day one, Will, where the kids are. Right, the kids, you need this like you need a hole in the end, don't you?
I took my children camping, you know, one of these little drive-along sort of bunk bed jobs, and we had the best holiday. We went down to Weymouth for a couple of days and during the carnival time, and we parked up next to the theatre in Weymouth, and my kids loved it. They had a great time. And the only thing I don't like about it is changing the chemical toilet. That's the thing I don't like.
This isn't a joke, this is very serious. All the parents that have left their children in the marquee, outside in the Mayday marquee where the children are, will you please get up as orderly as possible, walk out and rescue your children because they're 500 foot over the top of... where they're holding on to the ropes.
Mud. Are you guys...
I loved them. Tiger feet, tiger feet, tiger feet. I love mud. They were good. Whatever happened to them? It's a mud fest out there, really. I mean, I don't envy people trying to get their caravans off the site tomorrow. You know, they could be here till the middle of next week.
People are leaving early because a lot of the events from today have been cancelled. So, you know, something that's been in the main arena, which is flooded, has been cancelled, and I guess people are wet and tired and probably just want to go home.
But as Bobby Davro predicted, for many Caravan Club members, getting out of Blenheim proves more difficult than getting in.
The ones we can't deal with is motorhomes. They're just so heavy and they're just not equipped to pull. Any saloon cars can't get off in these sort of conditions. We're just all sort of helping each other and doing a bit. There is no official sort of recovery strategy. It's just wherever you see somebody that needs some help, you go steaming in there.
It's a human moment the Caravan Club can be proud of, as its members rally round and pitch in to help one another out. True grit in the face of adversity. Winston Churchill and his ancestor John would have been proud.
It's been a wet weekend, but it's been lovely.
Out. It's the first time you've come out.
Today? Yeah.
Isn't this what caravan clubbing is all about, really?
Yes. Yes.
Typical British weather, isn't it?
We've enjoyed the weekend with chilling. Yeah.
What about the weather?
We survived.
Next time, Jude Law visits Blenheim and admires the view.
It always takes your breath away.
Footballer John Terry ties the knot at the Palace.
Stephen Gerrard in that last car.
Charming, great, absolutely great.
And a photo opportunity for the Duke.